Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will open up this Tuesday, October 8th Finance meeting, and at this time I will yield the floor to Chairman Westcott.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome everyone. Item number 1 this evening is consideration of a resolution that would authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to apply for a grant for the Russellville Municipal Airport to construct an airport equipment shop and for other purposes. The total project of $375,000. The city's share would be $75,000 of that at the end of the day. What is the will of the Finance Committee regarding item number 1?
I recommend that we send to the full council with the recommendation for approval.
Okay. Second. Is any discussion on item number 1? Thank you, Mr. Karp, for your work out there at the airport. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is an appropriation request from the General Fund 2023 year-end carryover balance, the sum of $5,918.19 to be used to purchase a motorized axial fan for the Aquatic Center. Let's include that with item number 3.
Number 4.
No, I'll take that back. I'll take that back. Hold on just a second. Let's go with item number 4. Is an appropriation request from the General Fund 2023 year-end carryover balance, the sum of $6,809.45 to be used to purchase and install the Admiral Pool lift. What is the will of the Finance Committee on items number 2 and 4?
I move that we send items number 2 and 4 to the full council with recommendation for approval.
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion on items number 2 and 4?
Yeah, this is the second time in the last couple of months that we've had something from that had already been pre-appropriated, and now we're coming back and having to reappropriate from last year to this year, or
I think we're in a place where that's not going to happen anymore.
okay.
If that
Well, I
makes
understand. I just if I'm not upset about
Yeah.
that or anything. I just want to make sure like that we don't miss something, because
Yes.
if there are more things, like we already said, yes, let's keep.
Yes, in this like this Admiral Pool lift's already installed,
Yeah.
and so it was just it was kind of missed. And there's with that transition and the different things that have happened in finance, I think we're settling in and we're hitting our groove.
Right. I just don't want anybody to hesitate to reach out
Yes, sir.
if we missed
Good.
appropriating funds for something.
Okay. And thank you for those questions. Any other discussion on 2 and 4? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving back to item number 3, which is a appropriation request from the reserves of the 2021 Economic Development Infrastructure Fund, the sum of $25,088.53, which is in fact a reappropriation for the purpose of equipment for the Parks and Rec Department of a top dresser. This was previously approved, and I don't believe they had the equipment available at the time. I move that we forward item number 3 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is any discussion on number 3?
Seems to be working great.
Yes.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 5 is consideration of an ordinance that would adopt a city business permit and resolution code and for other purposes, sponsored by the city attorney. I will yield the floor to our city attorney if you would very briefly describe what this is.
This is, Sarah had asked that it be revised, the permit code, or excuse me, the business permit ordinance, and I suggested it just be codified at that point in time, and so it just took the existing business permit code, business permit ordinance, codified it, and also added what she wanted, which was addressing temporary vendor permits, and so it's defined what a temporary vendor is, and it sets a fee for that, where previously there was not one.
Mr. Smith, I have, can you, under section 7, item number 4, either I'm not reading it right, or it says valid location required if mobile contractor physical location of the office will be sufficient. Does that mean mobile contractor, or does that mean if they're in like a temporary building? I'm just trying to figure out what that section 7, number 4, what that means.
Section 7, number 4?
Yeah, valid location required. I'm sure it's fine, I'm just trying, as I read it, I can't make it make sense to me.
That is, wish Sarah was here, because that was one of the changes she had in it, was that, that her dealing with it, that was her understanding of how she wanted it. So I can't really,
Okay, I
Add
can
more to
get
it.
with her.
Mr. Gray, I think the origin of this is we had vendors call in to the Hughes Center prior to like events like the Christmas parade and other parades, and they were wanting to pay a fee to be able to come in and get a business permit, and so this was requested by Kelly, and so I think maybe that valid location is basically, you know, it's going to be at the Christmas parade or something like that.
Oh,
That'd
okay.
be my
I was
understanding.
assuming it was
It's
like contractors mobile.
No, I think
Okay.
this is for like temporary business permits for like people that are coming in and out. Is that?
where they're going to locate, if, like you said, if it's a Christmas parade, or if it's a
Okay.
Or if
Fall
it's
Fest,
fall, Christmas
anything
parade,
like-
Fall Fest,
where they're gonna be
you know,
located. Yeah, okay.
anything like that.
That makes sense.
Food
That
truck
makes
festival,
sense.
so yes.
Okay, thank you.
So it's only for temporary permits. We're not changing requirements for other
No.
permitting.
This is
Okay,
just
yeah.
allowing someone to have a temporary permit, so. And it's a nominal fee of like $25, so.
Well, because I saw on here, we had stricken some language and added some language pertaining to you have to have your proper state licensing before you can get the city, and I didn't know if that would hinder, are there some businesses that would require a city business license before they could get their state business? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think your
I
state
don't wanna-
license.
I don't want to get in the way of.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
that,
without a
yeah.
doubt, yeah. We can ask that, for
Okay.
sure. We definitely don't want to hinder anything. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I don't think that's the will of any of the council.
No.
And now that we've discussed it, what's the will of the Finance Committee on item number 5?
I move that we forward it to the full council with recommendation for approval.
Okay,
Second.
second. Is there any further discussion on item number 5? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 6 is consideration of an ordinance that would approve the private club permit for Handlebar LLC that's required for the state private club permit application to the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per Arkansas Code annotated 3-9-222 as amended and for other purposes. I move that we forward item number 6 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Second by Mr. George. Any discussion on item number 6?
I was asking about, I've been talking about with those filing this with the emergency clause. Do we need the emergency clause since it's an existing liquor permit? It's already there.
Or can we do it one of 2 readings?
Well, I was hoping for one.
One of one?
One of
one
one.
reading.
Oh, perfect.
That's what I would prefer, because I want to get this done, but the emergency clause, since it's an existing license, don't have to go get a license. But then I was just talking to Mr. Wetzel's attorney, and then it was, well, it's about the transfer of that license, so I guess maybe that needs to be rectified, but I was just trying to avoid emergency clause
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
this issue.
I agree. I don't know what the legality is on that. What's the quickest we can get that done, Mr. Trey?
until, if there's no emergency clause, then the effect of the ordinance will be 30 days after the publication of it. So in essence, it won't be law until then, and I don't know how ABC will treat a past ordinance, whether they'll do it upon passage or upon when it goes into effect.
So that means he couldn't open his business? Okay.
If they took that position of it's not effective, then it would be 30 days until he could get the ABC requirements.
Okay.
So potentially 30 days from Thursday. If we do the read one time without an emergency clause.
Right. Right. 30 days.
Which would be November 18th, 19th.
Yeah.
Mr. Peel, do you want to speak? Oh. Okay, would you,
Yeah.
get back with us? Okay, thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
So all
Make-
those,
Make a motion
other-
to put to the full council with a recommendation of approval and expediency.
Second.
well, there was a motion on the floor already to send that with a,
Yeah.
that, okay. The motion's being virtually the same. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7 is a line item transfer request to the overtime budget for animal control, and I move that we forward item number 7 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Is there any discussion on item number 7? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Item number 8 is consideration of a reimbursement request for the third quarter expenses for the 2024 for the Russellville Regional Economic Development in the amount of $28,361.64. And item number 9, similarly, is consideration of a reimbursement request for the third quarter expenses for the workforce development portion of that program in the amount of $12,879.81. I move that we forward items number 8 and 9 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Any discussion on 8 and 9? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10 is discussion on identifying utility projects such as high-speed internet company work site, sponsored by Councilmember Paul Gray. And to Mr. Gray, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know, I'm assuming that most of the council has gotten a lot of, or gets phone calls about the stuff going on in people's front yards. And I will move to the podium for show and tell, because I would like to come up with some way to figure out who's doing what where, so citizens know and so we know. So I'll move to the lectern here. So, James, can you put those up for me? So these are mostly in my ward, a couple are in Ward 3. But the one on the left there, this is a pretty common site out in the community. And so when I just contacted Mr. Duval about this one and said, why is this on the ground? And then why is it like this? Can you not? So my, is this because I talked to Mr. Duval today, and is this a labor issue? They're starting something and they don't have the labor to finish it, or they're starting something and then, because I was told this is a possibility, they get called to Conway or to Dardanelle, this project is, so they leave this kind of stuff. Well, Public Works spent time and went over and put this stuff up on the pole. The one on the right is, okay, if that's in my front yard, I'd like to know what's going on. The one on the right here is in my neighborhood. This happened a few years ago after a storm. This was laying in my neighbor's yard. I eventually went over and tied it up for her so she could mow and not trip And first, we were both wondering, is this electrical or whatever? But after I looked, I said, no, it looks like it's old phone cable or something, I don't know. This is a pretty common sight around the city. I talked to Mr. Duval about what's on the left there. These are everywhere now. There's just a sea of them if you look out on our urban landscape. And Mr. Duval said these need to be cut lower so they're not such an eyesore. But I just really noticed this today. That's why I asked him. I said, why do we have, this one's by Public Works. Then this one's over in Ward 4. This one's an ongoing saga. I don't know if you can see it from the picture. The wire comes out of the green box in the ground. Now it's meandering along people's gutter. It's been this way for at least 2 weeks. Prior to this, 6 weeks ago, this was running across the street for weeks until I finally contacted. I kept going, this will be taken care of tomorrow. This will be taken care of. You can't have a wire across the street. Mr. Duval called, and they got rid of that where it was crossing the street. Now it's just meandering through people's yards and in the gutter. The same thing here. This goes on for quite a ways. And these little flags say fiber, if you can't read them. They say fiber. This one, the same project comes off the street, and now it's going into somebody's yard. That's the previous one I showed you there on the right. And then if you'll notice this is along our new sidewalk on Knoxville. You can see them in the foreground, and if you look in the background, you're going to see they're just everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere, and they are 4 feet tall.
Those were supposed to be removed. When they started putting those in, I'd asked them to do something different. I had instructed them to have those done differently.
Yeah, they're pretty ubiquitous. I thought it was just 1 or 2 here and there, but after I did some driving today and found a bunch of them. So what I'm asking is that, and I don't know exactly what I'm asking for today, but I want the council to think about this and the city. Again, is this work being left that's incomplete and we're getting called to somewhere else, or we don't have the staffing? Is it a labor issue? I also witnessed today a truck at North Hartford and G Street had no markings on the truck, but yet these guys were climbing the pole and were clearly doing something with utilities. I just think that's a little inappropriate to have an unmarked vehicle working on our infrastructure.
That is against our rules. Every truck is supposed to be marked.
Okay,
That
I
is
wish
against
I would
our
have taken
rules. That
photographs
is
or
against our
stopped and
rules.
talked to him, but I did not. So I guess the early solution I'm proposing is maybe that these companies need to put a temporary sign, just like a yard sign or something. This is TCW, this is Optimum, this is Brightspeed at work, this is whoever. So I know as a citizen, if it's in my front yard, I know as a councilman, mayor, Public Works, we know who's there working. And so if anybody's got any ideas, we can continue this, put it on the agenda for next week, or we can figure out something over the next month. But it's not that I'm tired of the phone calls. It's just, when people call, I say, I have no idea what that is and what's going on. So there's a lot in Ward 3. I drove a lot in Ward 3 today as well. I didn't make it, I made it over into Ward 2, parts of Ward 2. But anyway, it's a discussion, so let's discuss.
Mr. Gray, in the beginning of this project, talking to Glenn, city engineer, he had broke these contracts into 20 different permits so that they can't get the next permit until the last one's complete. So maybe we need to discuss with him not to give the next permit until this permit's complete, like it was originally planned to do. So maybe that'll help.
That's a good idea, because the one where the wires are in the street, they've been across the street. They were across the street for at least 6 weeks, because I ride my bike over there all the time. Now they're just in the gutter. So that's a really good idea, because it's clear. I would see a truck there working, and then 2 days later it's gone, and I haven't seen them since, and that wire's sitting there, and I don't know what kind of hazard it is.
What is
other
that
than-
address?
That is on University Drive. So if you come off by the apartments onto University, go down to maybe a block and a half, it's like maybe University in Louisville, University in Mobile,
Okay.
something along in there. on University, just off of O Street,
So-
that connection.
Is that not happening? We had a rule that we were committed to, and now we're not doing that?
I'll have to ask Mr.,
Okay.
I'll have to ask Ben and Mr. Newman.
Well,
so-
because my question is,
Well-
have we divided, there's 3 companies that provide this
Yes.
fiber in our town.
Yes.
And in my neighborhood, there's only 1 provider. But in other neighborhoods, there are multiple providers. Have we done that purposefully, or is it costs more money to put it in my neighborhood and there was only 1 vendor that wanted to spend that money?
Have they not got there yet, or are they
Yeah, no,
do?
the other.
2
no,
are not going to?
They're or they're not there yet.
Yeah, 6A. They may not be there yet, or they may have
But
not chosen to.
the one that
for the-
was providing got 300 customers on the week that they came to my
Yes.
neighborhood.
It's a
So,
race. It
yeah.
is.
So, and they were fairly competent and good at what they did. I mean, that I could be critiquing some of the things, but like, not things that I couldn't fix myself. So, I agree with you. It is untenable for them to leave the mess. Like, we are providing them our infrastructure to provide the service that they're getting paid for.
At least leave it safe. I mean, if you're going to leave
Yeah,
it overnight, at
and
least-
they're not even hiring local people to do the work for
That's
the
right.
service that they're providing.
There's one of my neighbors on our street had a hole dug that a 7 or 8 foot tall person could easily fit into. It was the craziest thing, and it wasn't walled off or protected in case some kids were running around. So
That's
it's
illegal.
it's crazy. So I agree.
If you see things like that, let me know, and then I'll make those calls and get them out there. I don't have a problem getting people out on the weekend.
I think the one that I'm thinking of has been filled, but
Okay.
I'll double check the street and see if there's any left.
I don't have a problem getting somebody, getting a hold of them, so.
So I think I'm with Mr. Gray and would just ask for us to check on this stuff and not give another permit until previous permits completed to 100% satisfaction as it was originally planned.
And if we need to make some rules regarding these things, like, this is not the Wild Wild West. I get, like, everybody wants fiber. I want it, everybody wants it. It's a great service, but it's also not for the intent to abuse the citizens of our city just to get it in the ground. So,
Well, I would add to that, I do want some sort of identification of who's working that's permanently there. If they're going to leave something partially finished, which that's going to be a thing that happens all the time, not a problem. But I think there should be something that this is TCW working, or this is Brightspeed, or it's Optimum that's doing this, so the citizens will know and we will know. So I don't know if we can write that into our rules, or if that requires this body to do that.
So are you saying something that's left undone is marked?
It is marked. There is a sign there
Okay.
that says
Unfinished work?
TCW at work, or
Okay.
Optimum at work, or whatever. And one of the companies told me, I called them because I was trying to see what their service would cost, and they were working in wards 1 and 2, and for us, it was not available. So I don't know if it's coming and we're just last because they're going to get more customers in those other places, which is probably reality. I'm just wondering. But, that's, so eventually, I guess eventually they're going to come to my neighborhood. I don't know.
Nobody's been in my neighborhood yet.
And as they were installing it in ours in the very beginning, they had signs and they had them out, and you knew it was work in progress. So I know they have those signs that you're talking about. They
Right,
just
right.
need to put 'em
Yeah,
out.
I will say, it's TCW. I do see their signs, and I know there's stuff dug up, and their signs are out. So of course, I'm making a leap here that it's them, but I would just like something that's a little more tangible. And again, Mr. Smith, is that something we can do in our internal rules, or is that something the council is going to have to approve? Because I would just assume if our engineer in Public Works, if they can do that, then that would be fine with me.
I'd have to talk to Glenn and Kenneth and look at the permit and see what the application is, and we can possibly ask for more information based on that. make more requirements, maybe have I thought they had a time limit of what that permit was good for, or at least
Okay.
we've discussed it in the past. Whether they've implemented it or not, I don't know. But I would need to look at that with them.
Okay, thank you.
I think we can make the request. It's the enforcement is the issue, but like I said, we can make a request. If you leave something unattended, there needs to be a sign saying that it is yours. And if not, then I think if they don't abide by that, then I think we could come back and you guys could put something in there, so.
Well, I would appreciate everybody in this body, if you see these things, report them to the mayor, copy us all, whatever, so we're all kind of in the loop and see, because again, it's a pretty small sample I did today. This is not like I drove the entire city. I just drove a lot of Ward 4, this part of Ward 4 actually, and a little bit of Ward 3, and a little bit of Ward 2. Yeah.
All right, so item 11.
Is there anything else that you need from us this evening, Mr. Gray, on item number 10?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 11 is consideration of a resolution that would ratify a lease agreement executed between the mayor and city clerk treasurer for the city and Humble Aviation for the leasing of Airport Hangar 1 West. I move that we forward item number 11 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Is any discussion on item number 11? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
You might clarify that for Patrick, why we have to have this.
All this is a resolution because this is a lease agreement that would need to be executed since it's a conveyance of property, and that has to be done by the mayor and council, executed by resolution. That's a state law requirement.
All right.
If there's nothing else for the committee, Mayor, I yield the floor back to you.
All right, well, we will adjourn this meeting. And so you need what? Okay, so she's gonna go get her paper and then she'll be right back and we'll get started into agenda prep. We're waiting on you, Miss Skelton. I said, we're waiting on you, Miss Skelton. Yes. Now, unless he's changed it. He showed it to me a while back, and it's pretty good. We got a full house. Keller, don't run too far, man. I got time, man. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Well, I know, because no one ever, they just decide it. That's the big problem, is they go and do the thing, and they get the city in. And then before that, the commission signed off on it because the commission existed. Yeah, but when the actual commission was in existence, they controlled everything.
Before you.
And then when it came back, when it was dissolved, it came back to the city. That's what we needed to start doing.
Are we ready to?
We had directors out there that
All right. We'll call this Tuesday, October 8th, agenda prep meeting to order. I do want to update you guys a little bit. It's not what we normally do, but I do want to update all of you. At the request of FEMA, we have sent, at about a little bit before 5 o'clock Sunday morning, we sent Mark Nolan and Jeremy Dodd along with an ALS unit to St. Petersburg, Florida. In the last couple of days, they have been working tirelessly to evacuate nursing homes and healthcare facilities. Yesterday in Tarpon Springs, I think they evacuated 40 ALS patients from the facilities. So they're working hard. I talked to them this morning. They're in good spirits. They said the gratitude of the people is just overwhelming. That they find it hard to believe that they are coming so far to help them. Our team is actually Bart Nolan is in charge of 5 ambulances from other places. So there are 35 strike teams that consist of 5 ambulances apiece, and so they will be working until FEMA deems it unsafe, and then they will be moving to Miami tonight or early in the morning, where they will be housed in hotels during the storm, and then they will go back in after the storm. So, and if anybody does ask you, all of this funding will be refunded by FEMA. Everything will be refunded by FEMA for our services. Also, Micah Piker, who's one of our firefighter paramedics, was deployed this morning with a guard. He is a flight medic. And I got word today that Kendra Barnes, one of our Russellville police officers, will be deployed at 6 o'clock in the morning with the National Guard. So be thinking about those people. And like I say, when everybody else is running, they're running to the situation. We're grateful to have such an amazing team. So, and I'm grateful to the council that we're able to do that, because if the council had not bought all of the resources, we wouldn't be able to help our neighbors. So I appreciate that. So. It's amazing to see the comments on social media that people that live here now that used to live there, and I'm grateful, or they're from Russellville and they live in Florida, and so it's just really cool. Russellville is amazing. So, and that has a lot to do with the council sitting up here. So, all right, let's move on. Unfinished old business will be a consideration of an ordinance to amend the zone text amendment, all those numbers. This will be the third and final reading. And then moving on to item 2, an unfinished old business will be consideration of an ordinance to update Article 5.3.12 of the Land Subdivision Code. This is also a third and final reading. Both of these are unanimous by the Planning Commission. Item 3 is a consideration of an ordinance amending the Code of Offenses involving public safety, health, and welfare. Article 4 adopted by the ordinance of 2477. And this is Chapter 5. This is the regulating hours of operation of city parks and certain ordinances. This is a second of 3 readings. And then also, any question on those before we move on to the new business? New business will be consideration of an ordinance authorizing the extension of water outside the city limits of the city of Russellville, Arkansas to 2420 Bradley Cove Road. This is submitted by Crafton and Toll on behalf of Roush, is that what you would say? And this is unanimously recommended by the Planning Commission. This is just us approving a line for City Corp to extend this. The property owner is the one who pays for the extension of this, and this is for water only, no sewer, to the best of my understanding. Is that correct, Mr. Westcott, because you're on the Planning Commission?
Correct.
Okay. So,
You don't have the
anybody have
option
any
of the
questions
other
on
one.
that?
No, there were no concerns.
No concerns?
No
Okay.
concerns? Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I do have, this is kind of like a fun or nice thing. Arkansas Tech volleyball. The volleyball team tonight is playing a game against Lane College. And my kids and I were at City Park before the meeting, and this huge bus comes in with probably 30 volleyball players from Lane College, and they spent an hour and a half in a town that they're not from, playing with other people's kids at the park, and it was just a very nice
That's
and
cool.
wonderful thing. So,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't know where Lane College
I have
is.
no idea,
So,
but they were there. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
some of the kids were from Arkansas.
One last thing I do want to address. We do have an annexation election coming up in just right at a month, so We need to get the word out. I do have flyers, if you can go in your neighborhood door to door in my office, that you can get. You've seen some signs out. We have some 4x4s. We've got a few more going out. So just know that we need to get the word out on that annexation. The biggest thing is the confusion is.
We're in favor of it, right?
We're in favor of it, yes. I hope you are, Councilman Wisconsin. The biggest concern is, some people, and there is a Facebook page called Annex 479. The confusion is some people think a vote for it is for the casino, and some people think a vote against it is against the casino. It has no bearing on the casino. This is, just our obligation to close this window that was open 5 years ago. So we have to have those conversations and inform the people. So any help will be appreciated on that. So anything else anybody has?
I would just encourage anyone to, they want to donate to that cause.
Yes.
Donate to that cause.
Yes, because that has to be privately funded. The city cannot fund that. So so the city cannot fund. All of those signs that you've seen have been privately funded. All of the things that we've done have been privately funded. So, all right. If we've got nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All right. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, one thing. I do apologize. I forgot to ask. Budget. What would be best for you guys to meet? Because Brittany and I have worked on budgets, and we do want to meet with you guys as soon as possible. Coming up to go over budgets with you. Let me see. So we should be, so we've got council next week. We could do that last week of October. We could do like that Tuesday, the 29th. Would that work for anybody? Tuesday, because we're probably going to need 2 nights. We could either do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere in there, a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Monday, Tuesday, or a Monday, Wednesday, whatever works.
What are you doing the 22nd and the 29th?
22nd and the 20. So you want to do 22nd, 29th. 22nd we have civil service airport.
That gives you November to approve everything, or at least if you need to
Yes.
flex, then you've got that extra window before December 31.
There's several events on my calendar on that night, on that 22nd.
Okay.
Could we do? Everybody likes to stay on a Tuesday, though, don't we?
I'm good with Tuesday or Wednesday, or both.
Could we do the 23rd and the 29th, Mr. Westcott? What does yours look like? Or does 23rd? Does the Wednesday mess up anyone?
That's fine for me.
Okay, so we could do the 23rd and the 29th, and we'll schedule the different departments to meet with us, if that's okay with you guys. Is that good with everybody? The 23rd and the 29th. All right. And we'll 5:30. We'll start it at 5:30 if that's good with everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.